Hey there, rulers, DMO73 here, and we are looking at Aristella 2.0 with Aristella Moons. Let's go ahead and jump right in.
This session brought to you by Odyssey Games for pre-orders and sealed product, CCG Prime for tons of singles and supplies, Cardo Doko for international rulers looking for products, and FoulLibrary.com for articles and wonderful deck lists.
As well as our guest lecturer members King Pearlshine, Vite Ramen, Mognite, and Darren Noblock.
Class is in session.
So here is the deck. Just a reminder before we get in though that Odyssey Games has pre-orders for Clash of the Star Trees available right now for boxes and pre-release kits. You can check it out in the link in the description below. So we're playing Moons, we're playing Aristella, we're doing cool things. Really, it's our kind of first example of the extension ruler, our partnership with Little Red and the Wolf Girl. She can pay 0 to judgment only if you have put a moon into the field this turn, and then when she flips, she becomes this 12-2 with swiftness that at the end of the turn she flips back. So obviously we want a lot of moons because we want to be able to flip her as much as possible. Although we also get some good benefit from moons in other places, including good old ascending the Crimson Moon with Red Eyes for our other lethal line. The pretty typical way to play your light moon, your moon child that also gets to come with Aristella, is Child of the Light Moon, although I have seen people use Child of the Darkness Moon just for some additional spot removal, because the deck doesn't have a ton of spot removal, and so that's just something to consider. Stone base wise, we're playing 4 copies of the Fire Moon Fragment, or Light Moon Fragment, 2 copies of Hearth's Core, and 3 copies of Water Moon Fragment, mainly because of stuff that I would want to play in the sideboard for this deck is like a blue splash, but also because Child of the Light Moon lets us fix to white or red, so essentially we just have, 6 white, blue, red stones, and then 4 white, red stones, so we just have 10 white, red sources, which is what the deck needs, so you don't really have to care about your stone consistency. Obviously, we're playing 4 copies of the Contract because it is the easiest way to get Red Eyes, who is kind of your big finisher, or also early game, just kind of can kill someone off the bat, which is kind of crazy. 4 copies of Tinkerbell, really like this card a lot, especially for that reveal from outside, reveal it from your hand to kind of board wipe or refill your hand. Because we are playing a lot of quick cast 1-drops and 2-drops, as you will see in here. So 3 copies of Light Palace Phantasmal Moon, like the Moon package here, to help with Awakenings, which also can pay into the one-of, little cheeky Nyarlathotep that we're playing here. But also playing 3 copies of Glorious Little Moon and 3 copies of Immortal Little Moon. And then the one way to make Lone Wolf of the Crimson Moon really, really helpful is that you can use Godly Aura, like during your opponent's end step or during your recovery, to make a Fire Moon token, which will then bring in Lone Wolf of the Crimson Moon. So you can like really rush down with this card very, very easily and keep throwing him out. Obviously 4 copies of Lone Wolf because he is your kind of like clear and obvious win condition in terms of just like the amount of damage he can generate very quickly, as well as the pressure. You're almost never gonna get to 9 moons. If you actually took the time to get to 9 moons, then you've done something wrong. But just the fact that he has the Pierce and he just gets bigger for every moon entity you control gets pretty crazy, especially when you consider, Battle Wolf of the Crimson Moon is a moon. Your stones can be, your moon fragments can become a moon once you have Tinkerbell on field. Like, gets real big real fast, and every time it gets sent from field to graveyard, either by destruction or by sacrificing it to a Dark Alice, you can potentially get another moon into the field, so that's pretty cool. Just for some support package wise, we're playing 3 copies of Killua because it's, we can play it in red and some cancel, and then for some draw power, we're playing 3 copies of Dark Alice Rabbit Princess, which again works really, really nicely with Wolf the Crimson Moon, because when it's sent from field to graveyard, you get that reveal and potentially can get a moon into play, and if it's a Fire Moon, then it comes back, so you can really generate a lot of value off of it. Some other cool cards here that we're playing out just to fill out the deck is Spirits of the Crimson Moon. I really like this card a lot, specifically because we can pop additions, but also because it's a kind of a free-ish 2-drop that we can then use to trigger Tinkerbell, which is really nice. And then a couple copies of Rabbit of the Crimson Moon. Just again, sometimes stuff gets really big, and it's nice to just be able to pop something here. And then lastly, we're playing 2 copies of Lars, mainly because we have multiple rulers, so it's very easy to awaken him, and if we do, we can heal Little Red, because then if Little Red gets killed, we can bring her back and kind of make use of her again and again and again, and really kind of add that additional free pressure that comes with playing the Moon package. So there you guys have it. That is the list. If you guys have been playing Aristella moons differently, let us know in the comment sections down below. You can also check a link to this list directly on Force of Wind in the link in the description, and we hope to see you next time. So until then, though, this is DMO73 saying, class dismissed.